CEO says workers need to feel pain, and he also says workers are arrogant. This is Tim Gurner, founder and CEO of Gurner Group. And the reason this video has gone so viral, in my estimation, is because this is what we kind of been saying, how companies and CEOs view workers all along. And to hear one of them articulate exactly what we've been saying is great, because now we have the receipts.
I think the problem that we've had is that we have people decided they didn't really want to work so much anymore through COVID, and that has had a massive issue on productivity. Tradies have definitely pulled back on productivity. They have been paid a lot to do not too much in the last few years, and we need to see that change. We need to see unemployment rise. Unemployment has to jump 40, 50%, in my view. We need to see pain in the economy. We need to remind people that they work for the employer, not the other way around. I mean, there's been a systematic change where
a system where very few people can inflict this type of pain on the masses is not a system that should sustain or should last. And that's the system we have. And this is them admitting that. Time to inflict pain. So when you see what the Fed chair is doing, what are they trying to do? Suppress wages. Get you back in line. What do you mean remote work? Bring your ass back to work 5 days a week. Like it is the worker owner relationship is very similar to the slave owner relationship. It's an arrogance of the owner, like how you have the audacity. These scraps of food I'm getting, these rags I'm throwing to you, you're lucky to have me. You wouldn't have any of this, like you being benevolent. Let's rewind so you can hear that jarring part again and let him finish out the rest of the clip.
And we need to see that change. We need to see unemployment rise. Unemployment has to jump 40, 50%, in my view. We need to see pain in the economy. We need to remind people that they work for the employer, not the other way around. I mean, there's been a systematic change where employees feel the employer is extremely lucky to have them, as opposed to the other way around. So it's a dynamic that has.
They know that is the dynamic, that the owner is extremely lucky to have the employees. That's the leverage. And what the owner does to leverage that is to create false unemployment. Now, you think, I forget who did this. I think it was Amazon was one, maybe Google. You think they just woke up one day and said, 10,000 workers we don't need? Or is a coordinated attempt to do exactly what he's saying right here? Do you really believe there's certain companies all in months apart laying off tens of thousands of workers at the same time? Let's continue.
That has to change. We've got to kill that attitude, and that has to come through hurting the economy, which is.
You have to kill the attitude of a worker understanding their power by killing the economy.
What the whole global, the world is trying to do, the governments around the world are trying to increase unemployment to get that to some sort of normality. All right.
He's admitting, I'm going to rewind it. He's admitting that this is what countries are doing all over the world, trying to get this arrogance out of workers under control. Let's listen to that again.
World, as opposed to the other way around. So it's a dynamic that has to change. We've got to kill that attitude, and that has to come through hurting the economy, which is what the whole global, the world is trying to do. The governments around the world are trying to increase unemployment to get that to some sort of normality. And we're seeing it. I think every employer now is seeing it. I mean, there is definitely massive layoffs going off. People might not be talking about.
There's definitely massive layoffs going on. But then there's people that's talking about let's do some around the edges tweaks to capitalism to make it better. This is the ideology of the people who have the money, of the owner class. This is their ideology. I'm better than you. You're going to do what I say or you die. I got to listen to it one more time, all the way through this time. So much in there. Jeez.
Rise. Unemployment has to jump 40, 50%, in my view. We need to see pain in the economy. We need to remind people that they work for the employer, not the other way around. I mean, there's been a systematic change where employees feel the employer is extremely lucky to have them, as opposed to the other way around. So it's a dynamic that has to change. We've got to kill that attitude, and that has to come through hurting the economy, which is what the whole global, the world is trying to do. The governments around the world are trying to increase unemployment to get that to some sort of normality. And we're seeing it. I think every employer now is seeing it. I mean, there is definitely massive layoffs going off. People might not be talking about it, but people are definitely laying people off, and we're starting to see less arrogance in the employment market, and that has to continue because that will cascade across the cost balance.
Truly amazing. Let's look at some of the comments, and actually let's go to right here. Caitlin Johnstone, look what she put out. She saw this, and this is what she put out. This is that guy, Tim Gurner. He's a property developer. Tim Gurner's new chain of wellness and anti-aging gyms, St. Heavens, represents a return to his roots. Gurner's first business was actually a gym, and this is his worth: $912 million. Last year, actually, it says 929. So he lost about 17 million. That's who that guy is. I'll read a little bit of this that Caitlin writes here. Wealthy capitalist accidentally makes great argument for revolution. Recent comments from a wealthy Australian property developer named Tim Gurner, are going viral on social media right now for the unusual frankness with which he discusses the inherent conflict of interest between the working class and employers, saying workers who've grown lazy and arrogant during COVID need to experience economic pain in the form of unemployment to rein them in and put them in their place. Gurner, who with a net worth of 912 million is ranked by Australia's Financial Review as the 154th richest person in Australia. Wow. Made the remarks at an Australia Financial Review property summit on Tuesday. And I don't need to read the quote everybody saw, but it's not often that you'll see a member of the ruling class reveal their hostility, slave master attitude. And you hear what I said. That's where that comes from. Slave master attitude towards the working class so transparently. Perhaps Gurner got a little too careless showing off in front of his rich friends at a forum which, like most things that happen in Australia, never attracts much international attention. But it also wouldn't be the first time Gurner drew headlines by publicly expressing his disdain for normal working people. In 2017, he became a meme for blaming the economy struggles on millennials on the idea that they spend too much of their money on avocado toast. Now, Caitlin, I believe, is from Australia, so she knows a lot more about him. But let's get to one of the quotes because it's very interesting. He talks about Marx. Whether he intended his remarks to gain attention or not, Gurner has gone viral once again. And opponents of the status quo, he thrives on are making swift use of his comments. So, quote, I like teaching lefty theory as much as the next guy, but I can rarely do better at explaining the connection between capital and social political domination than just pointing at what the other guys with capitals do and say. This is the one I wanted to get to right here. When Marx said that capitalism, in order to function, literally requires unemployment and homelessness to discipline wages to ensure satisfactory profitability and maintain a useful social dominance of working class, don't take it from us. Take it from the capitalists. Now, I want to talk about this point because we always say you can solve homelessness like that. Do they want to solve homelessness? If we're going off this quote right here, let's read it again. Where Marxists say that capitalism, in order to function, literally requires unemployment and homelessness to discipline wages, to ensure satisfactory profitability, and maintain a useful social domination of the working class. Don't take it from us, take it from capitalists. And he just spoke those words